The scene for this evening, your speakers in a batting order. First of all, Stephen Ploss from Loweswater, who has a background in geophysics and will present the work of Professor Smythe with regard to the geology. Second speaker is John Wilson from Keswick, a leading commercial lawyer who will explain why the Lake District National Park, in his opinion, should be automatically taken out of the equation for the proposed repository. Then there's Harry Marsland, a Keswick and London-based marketing consultant who will focus on the potential implications of the repository for tourism. Following this, two proponents of the project will have an opportunity to address the meeting. They're Alan Ellis, the Nuclear Decommissioning Authority's Repository Director, and Dr. Jeremy Dealove, Consultant Geologist to the Managing Radioactive Waste Safely Partnership. For many people, the very possibility of long-lived and dangerous high-level nuclear waste being buried under a mountain in the English Lake District and in a national park, one of the most beautiful places on planet Earth, and with aspirations of achieving World Heritage Site status, is, quite frankly, as scary as it gets. Unfortunately, there does not appear to be a plan B, and many feel that if we go to the next stage, then that, as they say, will be that.
So we're talking about in the region of 16 drilling pads, each a little smaller than a football pitch, not all at the same time. That will be over the course of 10 years to explore this area. So we're saying it's unsuitable because of the topography, the international criteria should exclude it, the access, the essentially, carrying out this kind of geological, geophysical survey on an area like Annandale Fell is incredibly difficult, and it's likely to have this complex internal structure that we see from the magnetic and radiometric signatures. So essentially we're saying it is unsuitable. Alternative, extended interim storage at Sellafield. If you built right now proper terrorist-proof secure interim storage at Sellafield, what you do is you allow yourself time to do this thing properly, the way every other civilized country does it. First, you look for geology. You get suitable geology, then you seek volunteer communities from those places with suitable geology.
So what is the legal bottom line? Well, as far as planning in the national parks are concerned, the fundamental principle of planning law relating to major developments in a national park is simple. It just can't happen unless all alternative sites have been exhausted. And that doesn't mean exhausting alternative sites in Cumbria. It means anywhere in the country. Annandale Fell is a triple SI, the lake is a triple SI, and the sack that comes out, the River Ian which comes out of the lake is a sack for the reasons we explained in the film. The Lake District National Park is simply no place for nuclear waste. It's lakeland, not wasteland. Thank you.
Any move which would dissuade people from coming here will be economically disastrous, and on a scale much, much greater than the 50 or 200 new jobs for Cumbrians which the dump would eventually provide. She supports a £2.2 billion industry, the Cumbrian tourism industry, and 57,000 direct jobs. It will damage our businesses, not just the holiday businesses, but the carpet fitters, the plumbers, the taxi drivers, the gardeners I mentioned earlier. The risk from negative perceptions of nuclear waste and contamination are unspoiled countryside. That's at risk. At risk, food and drink. At risk, our green, fresh and clean environment. At risk, safety and security. At risk, peacefulness and tranquility. At risk, quality of life. It's in the MRWS report.
I've had a number of exchanges and quite frankly a number of disagreements with both Professor Smythe and Professor Hazeldine. Again, geologist to geologist, they have stated that they felt that the whole of West Cumbria should be excluded from the process because the geology was unsuitable.
The community in West Cumbria, and I've heard and listened to some of the challenges, has decided to embark on this process. And a very important part of the process is to talk to people and to talk to communities, and that's why I'm really pleased that there's so many people here. And we've talked about the MRWS Partnerships consultation, and it did spend a lot of effort and I attended the partnership meeting as an observer and saw the effort that they put in with their supporters and their consultants to try and engage with people. I also accept that it wasn't in the end effective in engaging with people. There were drop-in events. There's been a drop-in event as part of that process in Keswick, and I was there for that. And I recognise it didn't have anywhere near the number of people that came to that.
In your professional opinion, what the chances were of these rock volumes being suitable? And I think you said low.
Yes.
And we've talked about that again tonight.
Yeah.
You've reconfirmed to me that those rock volumes, in your opinion, the potential for them is actually low. So we both between us wonder why this process is still in place when there's only low potential.
It's political expedience.
For the sites you've identified, and there doesn't appear to be a plan B. And as you said to me, no commercial operation will go down this route. That wouldn't make any sense. If it's only got low potential, you'd look elsewhere.
Absolutely.
Can you say that all that was described today or this evening, in fact, is false?
If we were to explore the rocks under Ennerdale during stage 5, I cannot believe that it would be done in such a intrusive, almost crass, insensitive way as has been suggested. We would need to sit down and carefully design an investigation programme, and that programme, first of all, would need to involve the local community in drawing it up, and it would, as I've said before, need to respect all of the designated and protected sites, including the fact that that area is in a national park, as part of drawing up and getting approval for that programme.
Alan,
Good luck with that.
We've taken your own document, Alan. We've taken your own NDA document, which suggests that you will have 20 deep boreholes. Frankly, we think that's probably an understatement. You needed 29 at Longman's Farm, but in a site like that, you need in excess of 20, given the complexity of the body. There really isn't a way of doing this without turning the place into an industrial site. You've got no choice.
Well,
and the NTEC report.
We clearly won't be allowed to turn Ennerdale into an industrial site.
Well, rule it out then. Rule it out. Rule out the rest of the site. It's a complete nonsense.
There's been a lot of talk about this being a voluntary process.
I'm just interested to hear from all the people in this room.
By a show of hands. How many people here would actually like to withdraw from the process now and not go to stage 4?
I think that's